Hello, welcome to Fagor CNC 8055 MC Profile Editor Lesson Number 2, Part Planning and Calculator Features. As you can see, I've already opened the Profile Editor screen. The very first thing that we want to do is we want to press the F1 key for Edit. And of course we're going to choose Profile. And the very first thing it asks us for is the initial point. This is a point somewhere on the profile where cutting begins. And this requires some part planning on our behalf. So let us look at a few blueprints so that we can look at some strategies for part planning an initial starting point, because you're going to have to calculate this before you start entering any data into the profile editor. In this blueprint example, we have an outside profile, and we have 4 corner features. We have 1, 2, 3 radius, and 1 chamfer. That's going to require us to not start on a corner, but start, let's say, at this point right here. So if this were the case, we would go ahead and we would start at half of 7 inches, which would be x 3.5, and y 0 would be our initial starting point. And then once we calculate our initial starting point, we're also going to have to calculate our cutting direction. So in this case, if we wanted to go in the climb milling direction, we would want to go clockwise around the part. So our initial starting point would be here, and then we would move in a clockwise direction around the outside of the part. Let's look at another part example. Here we have a diamond shape with 4 corner radiuses, and we have to calculate a starting point somewhere on here. And from the blueprint information, there's not enough information. There's no points plotted anywhere around the outside perimeter. Easily we can calculate this. We can say, okay, if we wanted to start at the top here, we could say, okay, that's x0. And if we wanted to calculate the y distance, it would simply be just half of 3.6186. And I'll be showing you the calculator feature in a few minutes, which makes this calculation very easy in the profile editor. Let's look at another part example. Here we have a couple of radiuses with a tangent line and also a tangent arc to those radiuses. And again, from the blueprint, there is only center points of the arcs and the known radiuses, but there is no outside information for plotting a point on this profile. So what we would want to do is, let's say, start, if this is an outside profile, we'd want to start right here at this point. And again, this is very easy because we already know the center of the arc, and we already know the y center of the arc, and we know the radius. We can just simply add or subtract this radius value from this number to give us our center point. And so we would plot our point here. And again, once we calculate that point, we would want to choose our cutting direction. If we were cutting around the outside of the part, it'll be clockwise. Okay. Okay, let's take a quick look at actually entering in the Cartesian points using the calculator feature. And again, we'll use this part example. So the first point we want to enter in is 4.5058. And we'll press enter to save the value. So now we need to calculate our y starting point. So again, from our blueprint, we know that it's 6.5677, and we have a 1-inch radius. Let's use the calculator feature to calculate this starting point. From your keyboard on your CNC, pressing the plus or the minus key, or multiply or divide, we can make simple calculator features in the profile editor. Let's press the plus key now, and let's add 1 inch to this value, and let's press the enter key. You can see that the value was automatically calculated. Here is our plotted center point shown in purple color here. To save the value, once we agree with the values, we simply press validate. This concludes lesson number 2.